Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing? I'm trying to get the beanbag out of the way. It is 9:15 p.m. on Tuesday evening, and I am vlogging early today. I didn't go to my meeting tonight. Tanya and my sponsor went to a different meeting that starts earlier, and I was running late, so I was like, I am just gonna stay home and enjoy my evening with my husband. And yeah, so I've been hanging out with Alex for a while, and then Sarah came over. We were just hanging out, talking and stuff, and then Sarah came over, his friend, and she hadn't eaten, and so he went to the grocery store and got stuff to make them salads, because we're all being healthier now, is what we're trying to do. So yeah, it was fun. They're sitting on the patio right now, and I was like, I'm gonna go vlog for a little bit so I can get it done early, and I'm either, gonna listen to my audiobook tonight, or I'm gonna go to bed early. We'll see what happens. So I got a lot of sleep last night because I went to sleep when he did, and then I got up and finished my vlog, and then came home and went back to bed. So I got a really good night's sleep last night. And I started a program today. Day one of my program. I'm struggling a little bit. I'm hungry. I have one more feeding left at 11 p.m. and then I'm done for the day. But I'm gonna do this. I can do this. And I had gone in to change the date on my next Optavia shipping of when they would ship it, the next one, and I changed it the day that they were shipping it, and I missed it, so they shipped the next box anyway. So I went and changed my next one so that it'll be later than it's supposed to. But anyway, so now I have twice as much food at home. But I told Alex, because Alex is wanting to do it through the day and then have a bigger meal at night. He wants to do half and half. So I was like, just, eat my meals too, because I can't obviously eat all these. Now I have, twice as many as I had before. So he's been doing that for lunches, and he's gonna help me eat some of those as well. But I'm doing program now. And I went to my training yesterday, and I have my training tomorrow. And so yeah, we're gonna keep on going. Keep on going, keep on moving. Gotta do this time. I can do it. I know I can. Made videos today, and what else did I do? I feel like I did something else. I got up, I went and got a cup of coffee. I did not use my new coffee mug though, my coffee cup. I used my other one. Somebody left a comment on my video, and they said something about that I talk a lot about spending a lot of money on high-end products. Do I really? In comparison to my friends, I feel or other YouTubers out there that I see that buy constant Gucci and Louis Vuitton, and you know what? I think if that's what they want to do, they should do it. But I rarely ever say that. I mentioned it last night in a video that I was thinking about getting a Gucci backpack, and I was like, is that why I got that comment last night? But anyway, I don't feel like I talk about high-end products on here. In fact, I think I talk more about Walmart and Meijer and Target and whatever, but I don't see anything wrong with having nice high-end things if you really want them, and that's what you want to spend your money on. I've actually talked a lot about budgeting on here. I haven't really talked about it in a long time, but one of the things that I do is I set a certain amount of money aside every week. So what I used to do, it's getting dark in here. I know that light doesn't help much, but one of the things I used to do is I would go to Walmart or, Meijer with Tanya, and 3-4 times a week. I've talked about this a lot on here. And I would go in for deodorant, and then I would come out and have just bought $100 worth of crap, books that I still have probably not read. 3 or 4 t-shirts that I never wore, and this and that, a hoodie or whatever. And I would spend $100 a couple times a week, and then I would do this or do that. And so it would end up being by the end of the month, I had spent quite a bunch of money just going to like half-price books, or, you know, Dollar General, or, you know, Walmart and Meijer, I spent a lot of money at, buying crap that I just didn't need, you know? I don't do that anymore, so I very rarely do it. You know, sometimes, oh my God, Chick-fil-A is packed tonight. What is going on? It's like all the way over. Who would wait that long? I almost am like half tempted to show you guys. Well, when I drive back this way, I'll show you guys. But now what I do is I put a certain amount of money every week into an account that I have, that like I just save that money for things that I want to spend it on. And then if I go to like Walmart or Meijer and I just like buy crap, it comes out of that account. And then whatever's left at the end of the month, you know, or goes into the next month if I didn't want to buy anything, or I buy something at the end of the month. Like I've kind of been saving this month, so I'm gonna buy a bottle of Creed because I really love that Creed cologne. And but it's still within my budget then, because it's money that I take out. It's almost like a bill that I pay. It's money that I take out to spend on things like that. And then I don't usually ever go over that. Like I don't just randomly buy a bunch of crap, you know, that I don't need or whatever. And for the last couple months, I haven't been spending what I put in there, and it's kind of just rolled over and rolled over and rolled over, which is why I was actually looking at a backpack. But I might get it, I don't know, we'll see. I kind of thought about getting like a Gucci or a Louis Vuitton fanny pack, but I don't, like, I won't wear it. So, you know, unless I went to like a festival, like a music festival, I actually do wear a fanny pack. But I don't want to just carry it with me, you know? I thought Chick-fil-A closed early too. Well, maybe they're not. Maybe they're open till 10. I don't know. Maybe they're having some special deal today. So yeah, that's one of the things that I do as far as like budgeting money, so that one of the things I did when I started really like being serious about budgeting money was I started looking at, I used like a pie chart thing. There was actually an app that I did it on my iPad, and I looked, so I would put in there like money I spent on gas, money I spent on fountain pops, money I spent on, you know, I put all my receipts in there. I still keep all of my receipts to this day. So I would it would show me like by a pie chart, like what I was spending on stuff. And one of the areas, actually Sarah and I were just talking about this, one of the areas that I realized I was spending so much money on, or we were spending so much money on, was going out to eat on food. I mean, we still go out to eat a lot, but we don't go out to eat the way that we used to. And I mean, we were literally going out to eat probably every night, spending $50 every night that we went out, you know? So we were easily spending $300, $400, $500 a week just in food. Well, that's expensive when it's just two people, you know? And that was when we really scaled back, and we didn't do that anymore. And then we were going to like, and I was just telling her that, because I was like, we would go to Applebee's for a day, you know? Like once a week or whatever. And she was like, Applebee's? And I was like, yeah, because they have the 2 for $20, and we would do that. And Alex was like, what? Applebee's is good. She was like, I don't like Applebee's. I was like, well, when you're trying to save money, it doesn't really matter if you like it or not. It's more about the experience and going. But I like Applebee's. I've never disliked Applebee's. I don't love their fries, I will say that. They're not my favorite fries in the world. But we used to do Applebee's quite a bit. You know, but sometimes, like, we would get up on, like, a Saturday, and we would go to brunch somewhere, okay, $40, and then dinner, $50 or $60, that's $100, and then we would do, like, Steak and Shake on the way home from going out, and that would be another $30, so we would be in a day spending $130 on food. Like, that is ridiculous, as I'm about to pull through McDonald's and get a Diet Coke. I think I'm allowed to have like 1 can of Diet Coke a day on program, but listen, I'm having a Diet Coke tonight. I'm gonna allow myself that. They have this Ronald McDonald sitting in front on like this bench, and like every time I drive, oh my god, the line here is long too. you kidding me? And every time I drive by, I always think it's a real person sitting out there. Isn't that so funny? I actually forgot my fanny pack, which has my lip balm in it. They have Minute Maid slushies you can get here now. Fruit punch, blue raspberry, and sweet peach. Sweet peach. I've got my money right here already. Out. Can I get a large Diet Coke, please?
Okay.
That's it. And guess what? I have $1.09 right here. $1.05. 6, 7, 8, 9. Let me get scrounge my change together to get my high end, bragging about my high end McDonald's large Diet Coke. I want to sit outside and read a little bit tonight. I'm really trying to finish the quickie, which is not so quick, by the end of tomorrow. And I just started Carrie Mora by Thomas Harris. He wrote it, but he actually, well, obviously it's by Thomas Harris, but he actually is reading it on the audio too. It's 6 hours and 9 minutes. I'm 7 minutes and 46 seconds into it. I haven't been listening to it that long. I want to finish this too, because then I don't, how many books would that have been that I would have finished by the end of the month? I think then I would have read like 6 books this month. I mean, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It'll just roll over into August. But, oh my God, I finished the Pines series today. It was so good. Even if you watch the TV show, if you're looking for like a good series to read, ever since I trimmed my beard, it's like driving me crazy. How are you? He wasn't very friendly, was he? Okay, so The Pines, the series, was so good. I loved it. I finished it today. I actually drove around for like an extra hour just to finish it and listen to it. And oh my God, the last line of the book. I don't know what it is with all these books that I'm reading. Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen McManus was the same way. The last line of the book just totally like worked me. It was so good. So it really surprised me too. Like if you watch this series on TV, I would say the first book and maybe a quarter of the second is the seasons. Well, the first season on TV. The second season they kind of did their own thing. But if you know the premise of Wayward Pines and you watch the TV show, it's like the first book and maybe the quarter of the second book. But after that, it like, maybe not even that, maybe just like the first book, it goes in a direction that I totally did not expect. Somebody got a Happy Meal up there. Fools. But anyway, it goes in a direction that I never expected it to go. I mean, the end of this book, I did not see it coming where it went. It was such a great series. It's real short too. So if you're looking like for a series to read that's short, it's the Pines series by Blake Crouch. And it's 3 books. The first one is called The Pines. The second one is called Wayward. And the third one is called The Last Town. And it was really good. I actually thought the third book was the best. I mean, the first book you had to read to explain kind of what was going on. And then the second book like caught you up. And then the third book, well, they are kind of like cliffhangers though, which I don't love in series. I like when you read books in series. Okay, here's the weird thing. Okay, well, I was gonna say, I love when you read books in series that could be standalones. Like in the Truly Devious series that I'm reading by Maureen Johnson, like those books could be standalones by them. Like you wouldn't have to read, kind of, I guess. I don't know. I think the Marissa Meyer Lunar Chronicles is kind of like that too. They feel like standalones, but I'm really getting into this whole series thing. And what's the word I'm looking for? If you like,
Diet Coke?
Yep.
Here you go.
Thank you. Have a good one. He was Mr. Friendly all day long. Okay. What is the word I'm looking for when it's like the end of the world? Oh, the Hunger Games were like that. What's the word? It's like a genre of writing. Shoot. I know there's some of you out there that are like literally shouting it at the computer screen. I'll think of it in a second. I just said it the other day in a video of mine. But the Pines books are kind of like that, the end of the world, like, you know. But it's a different spin on it, you know. But like, I'm really into series now. Like, after I finish, well, I have to finish a Harry Potter series this year. I just have to. Like, that's one of my goals for 2019. But after I finish Carrie Mora by Thomas Harris, I don't know what I'm gonna, well, I think I'm gonna read this new book that I got called Little Monsters or whatever, but then after that, I think I'm gonna go back and read the My Life as a White Trash Zombie series. I think I'm gonna finish that series. I have like 4 or 5 books left in that series, and I just want to listen to them in a row because I really enjoy doing that with the Pines. Like, with the exception of having the audiobooks for Reading Rush in between, I really enjoyed reading them just boom, 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 boom in a row, and it was like I didn't want it to end. I was so sad when it ended. So yeah. Dystopian, that's what I'm looking for, the word, dystopian. When it's kind of at the end of the world, you know. But I don't want to tell you how it's dystopian, because if you start reading The Pines, you won't know. But if you've never heard of the TV show and you've never read any of the books, you should, and you like that kind of science fiction-y kind of stuff. It's science fiction, but science fiction for people that don't love science fiction. But if you don't know anything about this storyline, you would love this. It is so good. And the characters are fantastically developed, I think, too. He's turning into one of my favorite authors. He very much reminds me in a way of kind of like a modern day, I wouldn't say Dan Brown, but he's more like a Michael Crichton a little bit with his storytelling. Except his books are shorter, and Michael Crichton's were huge books. And Michael Crichton usually wrote his books. He passed away, but passed on. His books would be written, I don't know why it matters if I say passed away or passed on, I don't know what the difference is. Anyway, he's no longer with us. His books would be written like, well, I guess Blake Crouch does this too. He would do like Tuesday this time, and then like 5 p.m, you know, Tuesday 8:32 p.m, Wednesday 12:01 a.m, like he would do it like that. And it was, you felt like it was written in real time, like you were reading it in real time, so it was fun to read like that. The one thing is, since I did watch the Wayward Pines series, Matt Dillon played Ethan, the main character, and I couldn't not see Matt Dillon in my head when I was reading the book. So, can we just talk about how Diet Coke should sponsor me, but so should McDonald's. They have hands down the best Diet Coke in the entire world, and I do not care if you believe me or not, but it's the truth all day long. My eyes are tired. I've been leaving my contacts in so many days in a row. I just don't take them out anymore when I go to sleep. I don't know why. I think it's just easier to get up and start going, and I know I'm not supposed to do that. Back in the day, what's so weird about it is, I mean, I literally go days without taking my contacts out. What's really weird about it to me is that back in the day, I was so weird about it. Like, I was like, you cannot sleep in your contacts. Like, I had to take them out every night. But once I kind of got used to it, now I just put contact solution in them before I go to bed, and I put contact solution in the morning when I get up. I have to be real careful, though, not to rub my eyes, because you can, like, rip them in your eye, and then it's hard to get them out. If you've ever done that, you wear disposables, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's not fun. Have you ever gotten, like, ripped a piece of your contact and it stayed in your eye, like a little piece? So my friend is an eye doctor. I have, like, a really, really good friend of mine that's an eye doctor. And I remember I called him one time, I panicked. I was like, I can still feel that it's in my eye. Like, it's weird. Like, I can kind of see it. He goes, it'll work its way out. And I go, what? He goes, your eye is self-cleaning. It'll work its way out. And I was like, no, it's like, I can feel that it's in there. It's like this little itty bitty piece of the contact is still in there. And he's like, yeah, I'm telling you, it'll work itself out. Don't worry about it. And it did. It totally worked itself out. But it was like 8 or 12 hours later. And in that time, I was like, you know, doing all this kind of madness with my eye. Alex can't wear contacts. Like, he tried so hard, and he would just like panic when he had to touch his eye. He'd go, you're touching your eye. And I'm like, you're not really touching your eye. You're like taking your contact and you're like placing it on your eye. But then I would like, you know, open my eye and like touch my eyeball, and he'd be like, oh, that's so gross. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm like, what? It's just not that big of a deal. And he'd be like, it's so gross. Don't do that. I'm like, whatever. Tanya should be home by now. She said she was going to call me, and she hasn't called me yet. I'm kind of surprised. Maybe they went out to dinner afterwards. It is a beautiful evening. It is 79 degrees outside. It's clear skies. Well, there's some clouds over there, but hardly any. Just really off in the distance. It's beautiful. Kind of reminds me of like an Arizona sky when I used to go out to Arizona and visit my friend and his family. I'm ready to go on a vacation. I'm ready to go to Las Vegas. It'll be fun. This road was closed for the last couple days. I wonder if it's still closed up here. I thought I was having a hard time getting... No. They must have opened it up. I wonder why it was closed off. It was closed off right here. Huh. Oh, I don't know. I'm also really into this thing right now where I love reading thrillers. I kind of just like don't. Like, I really enjoyed reading What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera, but I kind of don't want to not read thrillers. I finished the first episode of Orange is the New Black last night. It's really sad this season. I don't know why it's making me sad, but it's just really making me sad. And, it's interesting how, in Wentworth, I think, Tanya was telling me this today. Tanya and I talked for a long time today. She was telling me she thinks Wentworth comes out this Friday. And I think it does too. It comes out sometime this week. Wentworth does on Netflix. And so then I'll have Orange is the New Black and Wentworth to watch. But it's interesting how... they're not similar, like they're similar in just that, you know, what they're about, but they're not similar in how, like, the topic is handled. Like, Orange is the New Black is kind of funny in some ways, whereas Wentworth is not funny at all. Like, really, it's very serious. But kind of like, oh, why can't I not think of the main character from Wentworth now that had all the tattoos, and what was her name? Frankie and Piper, like, their stories are somewhat similar. I mean, not really, but kind of. I wonder if the cast of Orange is the New Black is friends with the cast of Wentworth, you think? Who'd care? That's only something that I would think about. Oh my god, it's orange. Oh, hold on a second. It's gonna stop. Hold on. Okay, I had to pull into this parking lot because I feel like this thing keeps on going on here. I wanted to, like, adjust it. Okay. But anyway, it's, like, looped underneath there. Yeah, but do you think that the Orange is the New Black and the Wentworth cast, do you think that they hang out together? Who knows? They might all be good Judys. I don't think so. I know that the director, I think, of Orange is the New Black was in a relationship with the one that played Pusau on the show. If you guys watch that show, you watch Orange is the New Black. I think they were in a relationship together. But anyway. This is the last season of Orange is the New Black. So it's the 7th season. And it was interesting because I watched like the recap. Like when you go in to watch season 7, there's like a recap that you can watch. It's like 4.5 minutes long. They literally condensed 6 seasons into 4.5 minutes. And what was so crazy about it was that they really didn't play anything from last season except for the end of like what happened at the end. And I was like, last season was such a throwaway season. I feel like, I don't know, I never looked at who the writers were or anything, but it was like they just handed it over to somebody else to write because it was kind of like really a different storyline. And bits and pieces of that storyline have come out. Like it's in season 7, obviously. Like some of the characters from that are in season 7, but it's just interesting to me the whole way that it's playing out. But I will tell you this, what was kind of crazy was when you watch the recap, they had a lot of storylines that I had kind of forgotten about, and I was like, oh, this will be interesting if it comes back in season 7. And don't ruin it for me, but like, there was this guard in season like 1 and 2 that ended up being that one guy that's like super preppy on How to Get Away with Murder, and he hasn't been back on since then. And there's been some other people that it's like, I wonder what happened to them and if they're going to come back on the show and, you know, whatever. I love, like, in season endings when they do that. Like, for me, like, the Lost ending, I don't want to ruin it for anybody if you've never watched Lost, but if you've never watched Lost and you want to binge watch a show, Lost is the show to binge watch. I'm telling you, it is so fantastic. It is so incredibly done. And just, like, once you've seen the ending of Lost, go back and watch, like, the last 5 episodes before it ends, because it all kind of makes sense. Like, I don't know how to explain it any better than that, but, like, they focus on, like, one character, like, the last 5 episodes, and then what happens at the end. People were upset. People did not like the ending of Lost. I thought the ending of Lost was fantastic. I literally bawled my eyes out. I thought it was so good. I was so happy with the ending. But one of the things that I love that they did in the ending was that they literally brought back, like, characters from every season, like, were in the finale. And it was just so cool how they did it, you know? And I was like, I love when a show does that, you know, when it kind of plays homage to, like, the whole series, not just, you know, even characters that have been gone since episode 2 or whatever, you know, they're all there. Like, that to me is, like, really thought out and planned well, and I thought the end of Lost was fantastic. I loved it. I was so happy with it. So, I don't know, it's like, I'm trying to think of another show that did that I finished watching. Well, I'll tell you, like, the TV show that I wish had more seasons was The Killing. That was on AMC, and then, oh my God, there was like 6 cop cars there on that driveway. It's either a police officer party but they didn't have their lights and stuff on. It was all dark. So anyway, the show The Killing, that was on AMC, and then it finished up on Netflix. It is really good, too. It's one of my favorite shows of life. I was so happy with how the show ended. Well, bittersweet happy, I would say. I mean, it kind of made me sad that it was over and you weren't going to find out what happened, but it ended the way that I wanted it to end. And, but I just wish there was more to it, you know? I'm trying to think of another show that ended that I just was like, I remember watching The Wonder Years, when that show ended, and I can remember crying to that when it ended. I don't even remember when that was. Oh my God, I remember when watching Roseanne and the first time. I don't know what the second time was. Melissa told me that it was back on TV again. Oh no, she was telling me that the reruns are back on TV again, not the Connors, the spinoff show, which was horrible. But anyway, I remember watching that last episode of Roseanne. Oh, when she said she had made up so many things and she wasn't ready to be a widow, and so she she acted like she and him had a falling out and got divorced because she didn't want to kill him off. All that stuff, I just, like, it was too devastatingly real to me. I think sometimes we vicariously live through television and books so much that, you know, then like we have a hard time. I wonder sometimes, we never talk about this, like, do we suffer grief as a result of a television show or a book or something, you know? Like, I have to say, I listened to The Last Town, the Blake Crouch series, literally in less than 2 days. Like, I mean, if you count up all the time I listened to it together over time, I mean, I really listened to it really quick, right? I mean, I feel like I'm still in that world with those people. And, you know, even though, like, our minds know that it's fiction, that it's made up, these aren't real people in the television shows and whatever, you know, it's like at the same time, do we, like, what do we do with that? How do we process that when 1 second it's like we're consumed with it, the next second it's over? By the way, I want to talk about Big Brother. So, I looked up Big Brother to see if it's on this season, and it is on this season, and it's under all kinds of controversy. Do you guys know about this? There's supposedly some guy on there, I think his name is Jack or something, Jake or Jack, and he looks like Jason Momoa, and apparently he's been making all of these alleged, like, kind of like racist remarks. I don't know anything about it. I haven't seen it, whatever, but it was like, apparently it's just, there's all of these horrible things that are being said on the show, and people covering it up for other people, and like a lot of people are saying they just can't even get through the season. So I'm kind of glad that I'm not watching it, in all honesty. But I think that that's something that if I was watching it, I just kind of would fade out, and I'd be like, you know what, I can't watch this anymore. That show kind of like the last couple years, like, you know, when I loved watching Big Brother, it was when it was a game, and it was funny, and there was a lot of pranks that went on, and a lot of romance, and all that kind of stuff. You know, I liked all of that, and, oh my God, the year that Janelle came back, and it was like, they put her in the house, and it was her against that all-girl alliance, and she kept on winning. That year was the best year. I am a super huge Janelle fan, so I love her. But anyway, I wish they would have another All-Star season. Have they had an All-Star season? Yes, I think they have. I think they've had 2, actually. I would watch another All-Star season, but I miss the days that they were all, like, you know, on the patio, and they would talk, and, like, Tanya and I, honestly, like, the after hours when you didn't have to pay for it, Tanya and I would sit there, and we would, like, listen to them whisper for hours. We would just lay on the couch and talk, and we would, like, listen to them whisper and stuff like that. We loved that. That was, like, our favorite thing, was them whispering on those couches and talking and stuff. But it's kind of gotten, I don't know, the last couple times I've watched it, it's not what it used to be. I don't enjoy it as much anymore. I'm trying to think of the last real season of it that I watched and I loved it. I used to not miss an episode. I mean, I was literally obsessed. I was talking to Sarah tonight. She was asking me, she was like, when's the healthiest that, like, you've ever been? And I said, you know, she was talking about on Amazon Prime Day, she bought this crock pot thing, and that she got it for $50 and it was regularly $100. I didn't know the deals on Prime Day were that great. I didn't even look on there that day. I should have, since I shop on there every other day. I bought a bunch of stuff on Amazon Prime last night that I am going to review for my review channel. I'm not going to tell you what, because it's kind of some funny stuff. But anyway, kind of some fun stuff, some different stuff. But I was like, I'm just going to go on here instead of, like, trying to go to the store and walk around like, dun-da-dun, dun-da-dun. Oh, okay. You know, should I get this? Should I get that? There's a lot of stuff online. So I was just kind of like, I'm going to do this. I was actually, this is what I was going to do. Did I end up doing it? Well, I did. I did end up doing it. I ordered a mystery box. Because I'd seen all these people do these mystery boxes, and I was like, I'm going to do one of these mystery box things. So, but I did, like, a specific kind of mystery box. So, that should be coming in the next couple days. So that'll give me something, you know, to review on there. I've got so much stuff to review. But, like, when it comes down to it, it's like I have these lint rollers, and I'm like, I don't really feel like reviewing a lint roller. I'm going to plug in my phone so I can charge it. Oh, but anyway, Sarah was telling me about that she likes to cook. That's what we were talking about. We were talking about saving money by not going out to eat and stuff like that. And, like, not going out to dinner as much.
Monn, Felix said.
My book. Pause. Ooh, Ooh, I love when they show the cover of it on the audio thing. Okay, so, is it on right now? No. But she was saying that she made this, like, I can't pronounce this word, quinoa, and stuff, and she put, like, vegetables in there, and it was, like, this goulash that she'd been eating, like, the last couple days, and that it was really, really good. And, like Alex and I always say that we're going to do this crock pot, but now that I'm on the program, hopefully sticking on it, my plan is to be on the program until we go to Las Vegas, and when we're in Las Vegas, I'm going to kind of do my thing, and then when we come back from Las Vegas, I'm going to do the program again between Vegas and going to San Diego, which is about a month, and then when I come back, you know, hopefully sticking to it for a while. Halloween is such a hard time for me to be on a diet, because I love everything fall, apple stuff, but I gotta stick to it, And I gotta start working out more too. But anyway, I was telling her that the healthiest like I've ever been was that I would, for dinner, I would make, like I always say I won't eat tuna fish, but like back then I would eat like tuna fish out of a can. I don't know why tuna fish. My mom used to make tuna fish salad sandwiches when I was growing up, and I would eat tuna fish salad sandwiches, and I liked them because they had mayonnaise in them and whatever. Somehow tuna in a can I could stomach back then. I don't even know that tuna in a can I could stomach today. I just don't know that I have. It has been so long since I've had that. But I wouldn't eat anything for breakfast. I think maybe I did like a protein shake or something for breakfast. I don't remember though. And then for lunch, I would eat like a little can of tuna fish, and then I would have like 2 saltine crackers, and then I would drink a can of V8 juice, and that was my lunch. And then for dinner, I would steam, I put rice in the bottom. It was like whole grain rice, I think, or white rice, I don't even remember. And then like broccoli and all other kinds of vegetables on top. And I didn't put any butter or anything on them. I just put like Mrs. Dash's stuff on them. I don't even know if they'd still make that Mrs. Dash's stuff, but I put that on there. And then they had these 2 grilled chicken breasts that you could get at the grocery store. And they were already like pre-grilled, and so you just like put them in the microwave. And I would have like 1 of those a night, maybe 2. I think I only ate 1 of them though. It was like they came in 2s, and I would eat 1. They were pretty big. They were like that big with chicken breast. And then I would make a peanut butter sandwich on white bread or whole wheat bread, and then I would have a huge glass of milk. And that was my dinner every night. And I can remember I would go to I would come home from work, and I would eat that, and then I would take a nap, and then I would get up, and I would go to the gym. This was between my first and my second boyfriend. So, I was focused on working out and eating healthy at that time. And I would eat all that and take a nap, and then I would go work out, and then when I came home, I would like make a protein shake and have like a peanut butter sandwich. I think I did that and then worked out. I may have like worked out then ate that, but I don't think that I did. I think I did that and then came home and had like a protein shake and a peanut butter sandwich. I remember I ate a lot of peanut butter sandwiches. I was in the healthiest shape I've ever been in my entire life. Of course, I was in my late 20s too. But I was literally like running 5+ miles a day. I was lifting weights 5 to 6 times a week. I was getting a lot of sleep, but I was going out on the weekends too. I was having a great time. But I just felt super healthy at that time. Super, super healthy. I would get up, I would do the crossword every day. That was like huge for me. I think that kept me mentally alert. I always talk about that on here, like I want to get back to doing that, and then I forget to do it. But like I would get up in the morning, and I would go to the gas station. On the weekends, I always made a pot of coffee, but I would get up on the weekend, or I would get up in the morning before I had to go to work, and I would go to the gas station, and I would get a huge, like Speedway, and I would get a huge cup of coffee, and then I would get the newspaper, and then I would pull the crossword out. I never really read the paper. I would just pull it out for the crossword. And, because I would take the newspaper to work, and then I would leave it on the counter, and if any of the patients wanted to read the newspaper, they could read the paper, and then I would just take the crossword out of it. And, yeah, and then I would just sit there and I would do the crossword throughout the day, like whenever I had a couple minutes, you know, and then I would take it home at night and I would finish it. And on the weekends, my friend and I, the one that lives in Denver now, he and I would get up in the morning and like, cause we would go out Saturday and Sunday nights. And so he would call me, on like Sundays. Sundays were always fun. We used to always have fun on Sundays. But anyway, he would call me on Sundays and he'd be like, what are you doing? And I'd be like, I just got up. And he'd be like, okay. And I would like have started my pot of coffee and I would sit down at the kitchen table. I used to have like this wood block kitchen table with red chairs. It was real cute. But anyway, I think I threw that table out or, oh, no. Alex and I gave that table to Maya when I moved out of my apartment. It was this huge table and it was like, had four, it was really not, it wasn't huge, but it was like, you know, 4 top kitchen table. I don't know where I got that. I might have got that at Pier 1 or something. But anyway, that's where I started all my writing back in the day. And so I would sit down and with a cup of coffee and the crossword, and we would talk for a couple minutes and he'd be like, okay, go. And then we would try to see who could get the crossword done soon enough. And then we would call and we would talk to each other. Whatever. It was fun. But I think that the crossword back in the day really kept me mentally alert. I really, really, really do. I think it keeps you on your toes. Who is texting me? I can't see who it is. Dream. So anyway, I need to start doing the crossword again. I really enjoyed sitting outside yesterday and reading a lot. Was that yesterday? Was it the day before? I think it was the day before. I don't remember. But I really enjoyed sitting outside and reading the James Patterson book, like just tearing through it. Was that yesterday? I think that, I don't know. I said it on here. I am so driven throughout the day to get stuff done that like I don't allow myself time to just like sit down and relax, you know. And I think like I'm gonna pull into this neighborhood really quick and look at this. This neighborhood, I want to move into this neighborhood so bad. Here is the what do you call it? The Stockholm. But they're like doubles. They're really cute. You can't really see it from here, but how cute is this? This is like the model home, do you see? Of course, the model home has all of their sprinklers going, all the TVs in every room in the house, every light on the house. I don't know why we need to do all that, but let me pull around in here. This is kind of full. I used to drive through here on the vlog and I would show how cute they are, and now there's like, oh my God, this whole street down here is so busy. Well, I mean, not busy, but it's like, they haven't really built on a whole lot. Oh, there's screened in porches on these houses. No, this was so cute. I want to go down here and see the screened in porch. Do you guys ever just drive around and look at houses? I'd love to do that. Ooh, it's dark and scary down here. Look at that. Oh, how cute is that? Now it's like there's nobody down here. I am not pulling over here. This is scary central down here. Oh, does it loop back around? I think it does, but it's still scary. Look. What if somebody came running out of those woods right there? Ah! Scary, 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 scary. It does loop back around. Look how cute this is. It's kind of like you guys are driving with me right now. I don't know why I think these are so cute. I just do. And I'm sure that they're ginormous inside. But anyway, they're like duplexes. Which I think is kind of an interesting concept. Maybe they're like condos. Maybe they're considered condos. I wonder how much they are. I think it says they start at like $250 or something. Alex would never move in here. Oh my God, they have an upstairs and a downstairs though. I wondered that. Alex wants to be in an apartment so bad. I was watching Nick Avocado. Did you guys see that he moved into like a $1.7 million apartment in downtown LA? Did you guys see that? Or in LA? I don't know where it's at in LA. I almost said West Hollywood, but I know it's not in West Hollywood because it's all like small buildings there. It's a pretty incredible apartment. People were like saying they didn't believe that it was real. I don't know. But I watched the tour. Alex was like sitting next to me when I was watching it. He was like, what does this dude do that he can afford an apartment like that? I go, he does videos about eating food. It's Valerini. Hey, Valerini. Do you not hate autocorrect so much? I was talking about her in my video today on my Peter Monn channel. I talked about us going to the casino the other night. And they played Gold Dust Woman by Fleetwood Mac. And she hit the major. Rock on, Gold Dust Woman. Oh, she just texted me again. Gal. I even said I'm vlogging. Rulers make bad lovers. For a second that I was vlogging. You guys want to know what Peter's like when I'm just like, I drive around quite a bit and don't have anything, I don't have any music or any audiobook playing. I just kind of drive around in silence and just kind of think to myself. It's sometimes really meditative for me to just kind of take in the surroundings and what's going on. It's very peaceful for me. It's funny when people get in the car and like we'll start driving and there'll be like no music or playing. Like Alex, as soon as he gets in the car, as soon as he gets in the car, he has to have the music playing, you know? And, it's funny because people will be like, well, Tanya at first, she was like, it kind of drove her crazy. And now she'd be like, you're not going to put anything on? I'd be like, no, sometimes I like to drive around with nothing on in the car, you know? But now she's really used to it and she likes it. And she's like, I totally understand now why you like to drive around with like, no music playing or whatever. I'm like, yeah, it's just kind of soothing, you know? It's a good way to think and kind of like, you know, be peaceful and still. You know, I was talking to my Peterisms video today about, was it my Peterisms video today that I was talking about this? You know, I was talking about people that are like nasty and miserable and negative and just, I said just and it stopped at the 23.5 mark. But it's actually not 23.5. It's like so weird. It's like 23 minutes and like 33 seconds. It's like some random number that it stops at. But anyway, I don't even know why it goes that. I don't know why it doesn't just go straight through. Why it stops. It's so weird to me. But anyway, not necessarily just people that are like, you know, just people that are like miserable people. Like, you know, I think we all know some, we've all had some in our lives at one time or another that are just negative Nancys, right? They're just miserable. They're just angry all the time. You know, I would really say that, like, to some degree, like, people that always, like, it really doesn't matter, like, what they're participating in, you know, whether it's a family outing or it's a holiday or it's a work event or they're watching a YouTube video or whatever it is. They're just always negative, 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 right? I think, like, to some degree, it's people that are truly angry and truly miserable, right? And, you know, it's when I watch, like, people, like, on YouTube address, like, hate comments and say, you know, I really, like, I think Manny or Jacqueline or somebody said that they wish they could give all of their haters a hug or whatever. You know, the thing is that I think deep down, people that are really that miserable on a daily basis, because I have to say, there have been periods in my life where I was pretty negative, pretty miserable on a daily basis. Angry, sad, misunderstood, frustrated. I felt like I was on an emotional roller coaster, and that's what I was talking about in my video today, you know? I really truly believe that those people know, and I was going to say deep down, but I don't even think it's that deep down. I think they know that they're miserable and they're angry, and I don't think they really want to be that way. I really just don't, you know? But the admission of being miserable, angry, chaotic, and toxic, like, they don't want to admit to that. Who wants to admit, you know, that they're that way? And really what's sad about it is, I really truly believe this, you know, is we get one life, you know? You don't have to admit that to anybody else. You don't ever have to admit to another human being that you're angry, that you're miserable, that you're sad, that you're down. You don't ever have to let somebody else in. Let that person, if you're afraid of people having that power or being like, oh no, you don't know me, you don't know why, you know, whatever. But it's really like, the person that is living that existence is the one that is suffering, you know? I mean, I've had periods in my life where people looked at me and they said, why are you so bitter all the time? Like, seriously, like, why are you just so bitter all the time about, you know, everything? And I'd be like, I'm not bitter. What are you talking about? I'm just honest. I'm honest. I'm not bitter. No, I was bitter, you know? I was bitter. I was angry. I was jealous. I was envious. I wasn't happy with my life. I was comparing my life to other people's, and I wasn't happy. And I knew it. And if you put the lasso of truth around me, I would have had to have said that was my existence. I was not a happy person, you know? And it was real easy for me to pick somebody else apart, let alone I was not willing to look at myself in the mirror whatsoever. But you know what started changing for me was when I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. Like, I can't continue to do this. Like, I'm so miserable, you know? Like, I felt like I was dying inside. I honestly did. I think sometimes loneliness, despair, sadness looks like nastiness. I think that it's shrouded in just a nasty person, you know, like, and I think that's who I was at periods of my life, and I don't want to be that today, you know? And I want to live, you know, spiritually free and peaceful and serene today. I really, really do. But the first part of that is being able to admit to myself. I don't have to admit that to another human being, right? But admitting to myself that I don't want to continue to live that way. And then working on being able to admit that to somebody else. And then and I kind of bypassed that in my video that I said today, you know? That was when things started to change for me, was when I started living out loud, you know? And telling on myself and being like, I'm not happy, you know? And, you know, when Tanya used to talk about that all the time, she'd say to me, you know, I go to meetings and I tell on myself, I tell where I'm at. I'm not happy. I'm miserable. I'm angry. You know, I'm pissed. I'm bitter. I'm jealous. I'm envious. And getting those things out so that I can work through the emotion, right? So that maybe 2 weeks from now, or 2 years from now, or 2 decades from now, I don't feel the same way that I did, because I don't want to continue to feel like that. I don't want to be stuck in that. Who does? Who wants to be stuck in that anger and that bitterness and that misery all the time, you know? I don't necessarily feel bad for people like that today. You know, a little bit I do, I guess. It's like, it kind of makes me sad for them. But it's like, I think that everybody has the ability in themselves to just open their mouth and go, you know what? I'm kind of an angry, bitter person. I don't even really know why. Have you ever had somebody look at you and you've been thinking for years and talking with your other friends about how bitter and angry they are, and then all of a sudden one day they just look at you and they go, what is wrong with me? Like, why am I so miserable? And you're like, oh my God. That is literally the beginning of the end of you having to feel miserable. You don't have to feel that way. You know, that was it for me. I didn't want to continue to feel that way. I really just don't surround myself a lot today with all of that. I just can't, you know? And I kind of shy, it's weird. I kind of shy away from it, you know? Like when it starts coming around me too much, I'm kind of like, But you know what? Like, I don't know. I've had a lot of friends in my life, you know, at periods where they've been just as negative as I was negative, and they've changed as well, and they're not the same person that they used to be, you know? And people change over time. We all change. We all can change for the positive as well. You know, it's up to us. What is she? I don't even understand. Valerini, if you're watching this, you talk in code sometimes. She's so funny. She said, for sure. I'm like, what? Anyway, driving school. Student driver cars. I am so glad. Let me tell you about, okay, you guys want to hear a funny story? So I had this driving, do people even have to take student classes, student driving anymore? Can you just go take your test? I don't know. But, okay, here's a really funny story. So, my mom, when I was in high school, my mom, she said she would offer, my mom was like, I'll teach you how to drive, okay? And I was like, no, Mom, like, I really don't want you to teach me how to drive, because my mother drove me crazy. And I was like, no, Mom, I'll let Dad drive. She was like, okay. She was like, and my mom was somebody that, like, I talk about her as being a spiritual giant, you know, and wisdom sage and all this kind of, and she was, right? But, like, a lot of my mother was fearful, scared, worried, worrisome all the time, right? And I thought, oh my God, she's gonna drive me crazy. And she'd be like, no, we'll just go to, you know, the elementary school parking lot and we'll just drive around in circles on, like, a Sunday. And I was like, oh my God, no, Mother, no, that's so embarrassing. Why, right? And my mother, her story is, she did not know how to drive, and so she and her friend went to, her friend that passed away, Diane, she was like, oh, no, that's how she learned to drive stick. So, because my grandma bought, I think my mom and my aunt both cars, but the way that she learned how to drive stick was that she and her friend went to the south side of Indianapolis. It was the first car that my mother had bought on her own, and she bought like an old MG, I think, convertible, and she had to drive it home, and she didn't know how to get it from the south side of Indianapolis to the north side of Indianapolis. And she said literally the whole way home they were like, and they were just laughing and stuff. She about killed the clutch, but she said she did learn how to drive stick. So anyway, one of my first cars that I drove was stick, and it was like a hand-me-down from my dad. And so it was actually a Mitsubishi Montero 2-door. I loved that car so much. I loved that car so much. But anyway, so they don't make them anymore. They were real boxy. And so I was like, no, I'm gonna let Dad teach me how to drive it. So, or how to drive. So my dad goes to teach me how to drive this stick car, right? And my mom was always like, well, once you learn, you never forget it. It's like getting on a bike. So my dad gets in the car, and he is so pissed the whole time. And my dad is so easygoing, so laid back, and the whole time he's teaching me to drive, he's like, you're gonna kill the stick, you're gonna kill the clutch, or not the stick, you're gonna kill the clutch. And finally he was just like, okay, take him, your mother can teach you. I was like, what? He was like, your mother can teach you, you're not getting it. I just totally did not get it, right? So my mother took me to, was this when she taught me to drive, or was this when she taught me how to drive stick? I can't remember, honestly. God, it's been so long. It has literally been 30 years. I cannot even, it's been 31 years. I can't believe it, because I got my license like on my birthday. Do y'all remember that back in the day when you would do that? So anyway, my mom, I don't know, but anyway, she took me to the parking lot of this elementary school, and she was like, okay, go here, turn here. It was so easy. And my mom taught me how to drive a car. It was her. Calm, peaceful. She just sat there the whole time. She's like, okay, now go down here, and we're gonna go in between these, like they're cones. And she had me like doing all this kind of stuff. She's like, I'm gonna teach you how to parallel. My mother taught me how to parallel park. But I will tell you this, I was not a great parallel parker for a long time. And my husband taught me how to parallel park in Broad Ripple, which is like this artsy area. It's where my office is. He taught me how to parallel park like nobody's business. I literally now I'm like right in it. He is such a good parallel parker. But I mean, I will have like a huge car, like I'll be driving, you know, some rental car that's huge or whatever. I'm like, I can never get in this spot. I'll never be able to get in that spot. And he's like, yes, you can. You have more than enough room. He always says that. I'm like, no, I can't. So anyway, but I had to take driver's ed in high school. We all had to take it back then to get your driver's, when you got your driver's permit, you had to like take driver's ed. I think all the laws have changed now, so I don't know anything about it, but whatever. Thank God, but I think now, like in Indiana, you have to have a certain grade point average. But back then you didn't have to have a certain grade point average. You could just, you know, whatever. But anyway, so, yeah, back then you didn't have to have a certain grade point average. You just got your driver's permit, and then when you turned 16, you got your driver's license. So I took driver's ed, and I had this guy that was like my science teacher. I think he was about 70 at the time that I had him. Well, not 70 obviously, but anyway, he was older and he was kind of surly, but I couldn't ever tell if like his surliness was like funny or like if that's who he truly was. And then I had him for a science class later, and he was so funny, and he would always call me out, and he'd be like, He was real funny as a teacher, but I didn't know it at the time at driver's ed. He did it like in the summer, you know, for like, I don't know, like extra job or whatever. But when I had him for the science class, he would laugh like at me and he'd be like, Peter, do you remember when I was teaching you to drive and you almost backed into that car? He thought he was hilarious in class. So it's kind of a sense of humor. Let me just tell you, okay, I would get into that car and he would sit in the passenger seat. And do you remember they used to have that thing like that? Okay, I don't know if they still do or not, but they would have the brake on that side. So like if something happened, they could brake. Do you remember that? Okay. And they had this even dashboard and he would put this cup of coffee. Okay, one of those little styrofoam cups of coffee. And he would put it up on the dashboard and he would say, if you spill the coffee on me, you fail. I was scared. Imagine 16-year-old Peter Monn, scared, 15-year-old, scared to death, okay? Oh my God, I was so scared. Anyway, that is so funny. I don't know why I just remember this, but do you remember those triptychs? Oh my God, my ex and I, we used to get those all the time. When we would go on road trips. Our first vacation we ever took together was to Biloxi, Mississippi to go to the Riverboat Casino Gamblers. We stayed down there at the Beau Rivage. I don't know how I remember that, but it was such a nice casino. But we didn't realize that Biloxi didn't have any beaches. We thought we were going to be on the beach all week long, but Biloxi didn't have any beaches. But we had so much fun, and we you could go to AAA, and you could get one of those triptychs, and I think people still get them now, like grandparents and stuff, because one of my friends went on a road trip not too long ago, and he was like, his grandpa said, you need to get like a triptych or something like that from AAA. But do you know what I'm talking about? It would be like this, they would do it for free if you're a member of AAA. You could pay for it, I guess, if you weren't, I don't know. But anyway, it would have like a detailed map of everything that you would like drive, and it would like say turn left, turn right, whatever. I remember back in the day too, like he and I, we would get on the computer, and if we were driving to like, you would get on MapQuest. I don't know how I remember this, it's so funny, but literally we would get on MapQuest and you would chart out, like you would put in the direction of where you're going and where your like start and destination, and start beginning place and then destination, and it would say like turn right on such and such street, turn left, go 300 miles or whatever. And you would have that. We didn't have GPSs back in the day. Do you remember that? And or if you did, GPSs were super, super expensive. Also, the big thing in cars back in the day was radar detectors. Does anybody have radar detectors anymore? I thought I heard not too long ago that they were illegal. My father back in the day, oh my God, he had radar detectors in all of his cars. He was quite the racer. My dad has always had nice cars, but he's always had sports cars. My dad loves fast cars. But, yeah, I never had a radar detector. I never had a pager either, or a beeper. I was talking to a friend about that the other day, and they said, do you remember pagers and beepers? I was like, do I ever? Every single one of my friends had them. My mother would always be like, you don't need a pager or a beeper. That's drug dealers. All my friends had them. All my girlfriends had them. Not one of my girlfriends was a drug dealer, but they all had those pagers. And you get it, and you like pull it off your belt loop, and you go. Do you remember that? Everybody had pagers back in the day. Oh, Tanya Jean's calling me. Tanya Jean Applestein. Well, listen, I am going to end this vlog now, Squid, and I'm going to call Tanya Jean. And, yeah. And, I think I've gone like over an hour, maybe. I don't know. Close to an hour. But I'm gonna call her and see how her evening went. Anyway, I hope you guys are having, what is tomorrow? Wednesday. Hump day. Happy hump day! I hope you guys are having a happy hump day. I hope you're having an amazing Wednesday, unless you have other plans, but let's scratch all that. Okay. Happy hump day. I hope you are having an amazing Wednesday, unless you have other plans. But like I say, do not have other plans. Enjoy your day. Make the most of it. Life is not a dress rehearsal. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Pass it on. Tell somebody else. Look in the mirror. Tell yourself, believe it. I love you. Make sure that you feel your own worth, your own validity. Validate yourself. You are the person that is most important to believe that you love yourself and that you are worthy. Pass it on to somebody else. Tell them how important they are. Let somebody else know how much you care about them. There are people that don't hear it and go through days and weeks without hearing that. So make sure that somebody else knows. And I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.